The worst person we can conceive of is Dracula. That man was responsible for the suffering of an unimaginable amount of people. Therefore, we consider Dracula an unacceptable person. Dracula is absolutely evil. He would torture people for as long as he possibly could. If it would have been in his power, he would have made it so that his enemies would suffer for an eternity. If it was in his power, Dracula would have created hell. And hell is what I want to talk about today. It's absolutely mandatory to believe in hell when believing in God. And it's also mandatory to believe that hell is eternal. To believe otherwise is called disbelief, and it's unacceptable in our society. You must believe that hell is a place of eternal torment, right? Which is really awful, actually. Infinite punishment for finite sins. Not an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, but a completely disproportionate retribution. You know what suffering is? Being impaled by Dracula is a good example of suffering. But I want you to imagine a type of suffering that you are familiar with. School. Imagine being in school. Remember how it was. Go back through all the stress and fear that you had to suffer through. And now imagine that would have gone on for an eternity. Imagine a school where there is suffering without relief. School in itself already makes people suicidal, and that's just fact. That's not just something I say because I really hate school, okay? It is a fact. People want to end their existence because they literally cannot take it anymore. They cannot take any more even when there is relief. But what if school was to be infinite, an unending misery of history, physics, biology, literature, and most of all, blasphemous religious indoctrination? How many more would not be able to take it? How many more people would commit suicide in such an infinite school of horror? Do you reckon there would even be one person out there with the will to live? I'm afraid that there would be none. But luckily, there's no such thing as infinite school. Thank God there isn't. But a huge number of people believe that there is something even worse. Hell. There's either flames or complete emptiness, depending on your denomination. But either way, it is eternal. And there is no relief and even no suicide. So when you reach the point that you can't take it anymore, you still have an eternity more. Most secular people agree that this is a bizarre concept. But why isn't this despised? Why is everyone so extremely respectful towards such a concept? Dracula believed that his enemies deserved the torture that he gave them. But we do not respect the views of Dracula. We are abhorred by his actions. We know from history that technically the people Dracula tortured were indeed morally questionable people. But we condemn him still because this retribution was disproportionate. Those people did not deserve to be impaled. So I think you'll see where I'm going with this. There are a lot of Christians who have atheist friends. But how can an atheist possibly befriend a Christian? How can they accept that the person they love believes that it's righteous for them to go through an infinite amount of suffering, and not even because they're a bad person? How can the atheist accept such a thing? Why do they not hate their friend for believing and condoning such a horrid thing? What in oblivion is making them so bloody tolerant of such blasphemous contentions?